So we were doing the Ouija board and we said, are you a spirit? And we got the answer, yes. What's your name? And it spelled out Legion. I actually had a spirit come through me, and it was changing my personality. I really became very dark. I had this cloud over me, this heaviness that I could not get rid of. Judaism was just part of daily life. Our families, we all lived within maybe a 3 or 4 block radius of each other. And on the holidays, on Shabbat, we would get together for these great family dinners. I don't know how they prepared all that food on Shabbat morning. We didn't light the gas. We didn't turn on the lights. We had, a Gentile neighbor that would come and do those things. My parents decided to move about 30 miles away to a beach town. And much to my amazement, we were the only Jewish family on the street. We were always sort of odd man out. Tragedy hit my family. My mom was going to meet my dad, and she swerved to avoid a drunk driver, and she hit a brick wall. While she was at the hospital, they discovered that my mom had breast cancer. I watched her slip away. My mother was the most charitable, giving, kind human being. All she wanted to do was do good for people. Where was God? Where was God? I had really kind of lost myself, lost my connection that I had known since I was a little girl, my connection to God, and it felt so empty. There was a part of me that was like a big hole in my heart. We started doing things that I had never done and never envisioned doing in my life, like hanging out in bars. Started clubbing and getting involved with lots of men. Tried marijuana a little bit. Sex and rock and roll were my drugs of choice. So some friends of mine were into the occult. I had already been dabbling in astrology, getting some sort of what I called psychic readings. Let me tell you, all kinds of things were happening. All kinds of things. So we were doing the Ouija board and we said, are you a spirit? And we got the answer, yes. And then, what's your name? And it spelled out Legion. And then we would levitate tables. And at one of these seances, I actually had a spirit come through me. I had this cloud over me, this heaviness that I could not get rid of. Well, that spirit, it was driving me crazy. And it was changing my personality. I really became very dark. How I was treating people was terrible. I had become mean and I had become angry, and it was just like a personality transfer. I had a friend that I had met, and I remembered him saying he was a minister. I had his number and I called him and I told him what happened. He said, well, you need to pray. He said, do you know how to pray? I said, I'm Jewish. Of course I know how to pray. How does a Jewish person not know how to pray? And he said, well, okay, do you want me to pray with you? And I said, if it will get rid of this spirit, yes, pray with me. And I said, that's it? And he said, that's it. I was laying in bed, and all of a sudden I felt a presence in my room in the middle of the night. And I opened my eyes, and there was Jesus standing in my bedroom. And I'm like, I'm Jewish. What are you doing here? And he said, I'm Jewish too. You belong to me. I'm setting you free because you're mine. And you're going to be okay. And then he was gone. Along, this time, my friends, they always went to church. And there was a revival. The pastor, Jerry Macklin, gave an altar call. The thing I remember him saying is, if you have a broken heart, come now to the altar, because Jesus is the healer of broken hearts. The whole history of my life, from when my mom died, the heartbreak of all of that just flooded me. And somehow I knew if I got to that altar, that was where my healing would come. There was an answer. There was an answer to all this pain I had been in for so long. And I just kept saying, Jesus is in my heart. Jesus is in my heart. Jesus is in my heart. And it was transformational. I really started to think about my family, and I was thinking, oh boy, how are they going to receive this? Went to visit my brother. He went ballistic. He lost his mind. And this brother that I had been so close to threw me out of his house. And he said, Mom and Dad would be rolling over in their graves. How could you do this? How could you do that to their memories? Get out of my house. I never want to see you again. And I was sobbing and weeping and sobbing. And it was like, David, don't do this. Don't do this. No. And he goes, get out. Just get out. I never want to see you again. And I walked to my car, and my sister-in-law walked out with me. I'm so sorry. She said, but I just need to tell you something. There's a peace about you, Bobby. There's a change in you that I've never seen before. He'll come around. He'll come around. Don't let go of what you got. He'll come around. I used to look out. I had this most incredible view of the panorama of the cities of New York. And at night, how magnificent with all those lights. And as I was pondering them one night, there was an inner voice speaking to me, the Lord speaking to me through the Holy Spirit. And he said, Bobby, see every one of those lights, imagine that they represent a soul. And he said, I came and died on that cross to save every one of those souls. I love every one of those souls as you're looking at those lights. But now just imagine that every light that you're looking at went out except one. And just imagine that that one light is you. And you know what, Bobby, my daughter, if you were the only one, I still would have gone to the cross. I still would have taken your sin. I still would have taken all of it on me just for you.